Crew, welcome back. Have you seen this? We got to talk about this article from the Post Millennial. It says Moms for Liberty founder blasts Joy Reid's demand that books with incest, rape, and pedophilia be allowed in public school. Let's go ahead and get into this. Moms for Liberty founder Tiffany Justice appeared in an interview with MSNBC host Joy Reid, who pushed Justice to accept that books containing topics about strap-on dildos and incest should be allowed in public school for children. Reid pressed the question of why liberal parents can't have the right to allow their children to be able to read the book, All Boys Aren't Blue, which has topics concerning anal rape, incest, strap-on dildos, and many others that would not be appropriate to many parents of school children. She argued that passages about these topics are taken out of context in school board meetings. See, that's what they do. Anytime you push back on these weird leftist ideas about why these things should be allowed in our public schools, they start to try and say that, no, you don't understand. These things have been taken out of context. Man. Anyway, Justice explained that the book is about a young man who was anally raped by a family member when he is a child, and then asked, in the context, is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? No, it's not. I don't want to take too much away from the video I'm about to show you, but let me finish this last little bit and I'll go ahead and play this for you. Reid then tested Justice's knowledge about details in the book by asking her to name the main character's name, specifically in the book, to which Justice answered correctly. That's not even relevant. It's not even relevant to the point. When Reid pressed her more, saying Justice was not an expert in the book, Justice replied, I don't need to be an expert to know that dildos aren't appropriate content for public school children. And she's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. It's not appropriate. You know what? You guys get the gist of this. Let me just go ahead and get straight into the video. Watch this.
LGBTQ parents and parents of LGBTQ kids, do they have parental rights?
Every parent, Joy. Every parent means every parent has the fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children.
And liberal parents? Do liberal parents have those rights as well?
All parents. Sure.
So let me point you to some statistics, because the question becomes then who gets to decide what all kids get to read. The Washington Post took a look at about 1,000+ book challenges that were filed, and they found that they were filed nationwide by just 11 people. Each of these people brought 10 or more challenges against books in their school district. Together, these serial filers constituted 6% of all book challengers, but they were responsible for 60% of filings. In Florida, Tampa Bay Times, they found that of roughly 1,100 complaints recorded in Florida since July 2022, we're talking about more than 700 just from two counties, Escambia in the Western Panhandle and Clay County. Together, those are less than 3% of the public school enrollment, 600 of those complaints, 2 people. Why should 13 people get to decide what books tens of thousands of children get to read?
Well, I'm thinking it's probably because those 13 people saw what some of the content was in the books. I mean, explicit, graphic, sexual content. And I'm happy to talk about some of that content if you'd like to.
Well, this is the question again. The books that are being banned, I want to give...
I got a question for y'all. Why is it that it seems like the people on the left are so obsessed with adult content being pushed onto, or excuse me, having our young children who are supposed to be learning about, math and science, why are they so concerned with them having access to adult content or prawn material? I have to say prawn because I don't want to get a YouTube strike. Material inside of the public school library. I don't understand. It's strange. If you know, write it down in the comments. I don't get it.
If you just
hold on
a second.
Well, no, Joy, but I want to be clear. No one's banning books. Write the book, print the book, publish the book, put the book in the public library, sell the book, right? We're talking about a public school library. Children don't have unfettered access to the internet at school.
Boom, how about that, right? There is no unfettered access to the internet in school. And the reason why is because there are things on the internet that those children, right, at that age should not be exposed to yet. It has nothing to do with curriculum. So going back to her point, which is a beautiful point, Mom, a beautiful point. Why do you want our children to have access to this? This is really weird.
I did a FOIA records request, and I wanted to see what kinds of internet sites are banned in schools, if we're going to talk about banning, right? And the subject matter in the books that moms are concerned about are the same things that kids don't have access to on the internet.
How about that, Mom?
It just feels very hypocritical, right? No, why is no one out there protesting for, free the internet in schools?
Let me give you an example of some of the books that have been removed from shelves as a result of the activities of organizations like Moms for Liberty.
We're not going to talk like Moms for Liberty. We're going to talk specifically
Moms for Liberty. Absolutely.
So I'm happy to have this conversation with you, Joy.
Absolutely.
But we're going to be specific about the actions of Moms for Liberty.
Oh, 100%.
Because I can't be possibly responsible for every single parent in America.
But your organization is the lead. You're the leading organization that's doing this. You have chapters all over the country, and other organizations are following your lead. And PEN America has listed, they have posted the list of books that have been removed from shelves as a result of these activities. So let me just read you a couple of them. Anne Frank's A Diary of a Young Girl. Mouse, which is a book about the Holocaust, a graphic novel. Genderqueer, a memoir. All Boys Aren't Blue. Beloved, Martin Luther King Jr. and the March on Washington. Ruby Bridges Goes to School, Slaughterhouse-Five, The Color Purple, Forever by Judy Blume. I could go on. These are books that are not only popular, in some cases are classics. Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. Let me give you an example.
Well, I'd like to answer your question.
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just mentioned a list of books. And so Moms for Liberty doesn't have like a national book list. There was never a list of books that we put out and said, parents, be concerned about these books, right? We didn't do it because we want our parents to be effective advocates. So when moms are going into the libraries in the schools, when they're seeing what their children have access to, when they go to speak to the superintendent or the principal, they have accurate information, right? They're
and where are they
getting
their information from?
You can just go online to a catalog in your children's library, and you can see what
without
books are
reading
available.
The books. What is
what is?
Oh, you started a little dig there without reading the book.
I'm aware of a website called booklooks.com where parents can go and see some of the books that other parents are concerned about.
Booklooks.com has been used in Florida extensively in counties like, I used to live in Broward County. I lived there for 14 years.
Okay.
In counties like Broward, counties like Clay, counties like Escambia, Moms for Liberty activists are using booklooks.com. And it's essentially a cliff notes for books.
Yeah.
So you go through without even having to read the book. I'm going to just hold it up so our audience can see what it looks like. This is the one for All Boys Aren't Blue, which is one of the books Moms for Liberty has pushed.
Everyone should go and see the content in this book. That's such a good idea.
And so what happens is you can do keyword searches and find certain keywords.
Like rape.
You can find
or anal rape or dildo.
You can find all sorts of types of words.
But like,
wait, hold on. Wait. Let me finish my question.
Okay,
then you can answer. I'm going to give you time to answer, but I got to ask you first.
No, yeah, I got the question.
And so what you find is the keywords that you find, the N-word, anything, words like you just used, then you'll get.
She said words like you just used. She can't say it on air. She don't want to say it. Right? But she wants your children to read it. You can't make this shit up, man. These people are goofy, man.
Out of context passages from the book. And then based on that, Moms for Liberty members are going to places like Broward County School Board meetings, reading out of context passages from these books, and then demanding that the school board remove them.
So what's
that is the way. Yeah. The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise?
I don't need no flipping expertise to know that I do not want prawn material or adult contact material inside of my child's library. This is the game that they play. These pseudo intellectuals like Joy Reid, right? They ask you questions to try and bait you into a conversation where they can pull out and ask you what's your expertise as like a gotcha moment. There is no gotcha moment. You don't need expertise for this.
That you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read. What
a tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, rape, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so I'm going to answer
Please
for
do.
you. In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? Just I mean, that's my question to you. Tell me what the context around
she knows she got
a strap-on dildo or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No, we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions. And I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
That's her trying to challenge her expertise, right? What's the name of the author? It doesn't flipping matter what the name of the author is. That has nothing to do with what's inside of the book.
asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You just remembered very specific things.
Joy.
Here's my question.
Talking about
you
didn't answer my question.
I'm going to answer your question.
I would love to do that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you, and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation. Okay. Great. So what I'm saying to you is that as you are not an expert in this book,
I don't have to be an expert. No, hold on a second.
That was her whole talk. She wrote that down in the back, like, "Oh, I'm gonna get her with this." Chick, you failed. Goofy, racist, joyless Reid. You failed, Joy. You failed. Mom's kicking your ass, Joy.
Inappropriate for public school. I mean, come on, let's get real.
Is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience. Why is it your right, or a Moms for Liberty activist's right, to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author, why doesn't a liberal parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't?
So again, we're talking about incest, rape, and pedophilia.
And each parent, each parent has to decide what is appropriate for their child to read. So I want you to answer. I'm going to ask it one more time. What is your right to tell a parent who wants their child, who might feel seen by this story, why don't they have the right? Why don't they have the right as a parent to say, my child can have access to this book?
If a child feels seen by this story, that means that they have been the victim of a predator. That means that they have either been raped by a family member, they've experienced
and your proof of that is what?
You just said if a child feels seen by the story.
You just said if a child sees themselves in the story. So if a child sees themselves in that story, that means that's what's going on. Yo, get Joy out of here, man. Joy, you got to go. I wish I had a button. I wish I had one of those buttons.
So what I'm saying, Joy,
you're now making assumptions.
No, Joy, but if a child has been raped, we should do a lot better than
now you're literally creating a story behind a child that you don't know. Let me show you a form. This is a form that can be obtained in Broward County, Florida. I'm going to show it to the audience, and then I'm going to show it to you.
You failed.
This is called the opt. Yeah, please. I'm going to hand it to you. It's called the opt-out form.
Okay.
An opt-out form would allow any parent, because you said you are in favor of parental rights.
I am.
It would allow any parent to opt out of their child being able to.
This is an easy workaround. Listen, all any kid would have to do is say, hey, listen, my mom and dad won't let me have this book. Go ahead and get this book for me, since your family, your mom and dad is goofy and don't care. Can you rent this book? You can get this book from the library? Sure, no problem. Right? Same thing as you smoke cigarettes when you're young. You ask your friend to hold your cigarettes for you, or vice versa. This is stupid. This is not a solution. Yo, Joy, raceless, joyless Reid, you lost. You lost this argument.
To take books out of the library without their parents' permission.
Okay.
So that Moms for Liberty, why not advocate that every school in America have an opt-out form, so that a parent who doesn't want their child to access a book like All Boys Aren't Blue, that they can make that choice? Because then each parent, including a liberal parent, a Black parent, a parent who wants their child to read a book about African-American history.
Oh my gosh, the left. Why do y'all keep doing this? This has nothing to do with race. Right? Racist Joyless Reid is trying to bait her into a racial conversation, talking about Black people. It has nothing to do with that. This is about whatever ethnicity your child is. It's about them not having unfettered access to adult content inside of the public school. And Joy is trying to bring race into the conversation. She's a race hustler also. Racist Joyless Reid, you lost. Mom whooped that ass on national TV.
They want children to read books.
Why not just opt out for yourself rather than tell other parents what they can and cannot?
First of all, I think what you're talking about here is a wonderful step in the right direction.
No, it's not.
And we should be having conversations about this. This is about local control. A lot of these decisions are made at the local school board level. And that's where these decisions should be made. And there should be vibrant conversations about what's happening in our public schools and what kids have access to. Joy, however, maybe we could just put all the books with all the graphic sexual content. The dildos, the rape, the
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Let's put a curtain up in the library.
Hold on. One moment.
Remember when we were little and you would go to the video store
and
they put those
books that Moms for Liberty
with pornography
I know that I've seen.
We could just do that in the public library.
I have seen tapes of what Moms for Liberty does, and you all go into school board meetings and you read graphic stuff. No, it's not.
America used to understand that there's something called age-appropriate content.
Right, and here's my question again.
Ratings on movies.
Again.
We do have ratings on movies, don't we? Don't we, Joy Reid? We got ratings on movies, right? Why can't we have ratings on books inside of public school? They trying to indoctrinate your children, folks. That's why. These loony leftists, boy. Oh my goodness.
Ruby Bridges Goes to School is on the list of books that Moms for Liberty has attempted to have removed.
Absolutely not.
It absolutely is. Let me ask about the people who are making the decision for their parents, because you have not answered yet why a liberal parent or an African-American parent.
You saw that, right? Did you catch that, Crew? Crew, she's trying to interject race into the conversation. This is what they do. She wrote all this up before she got here. She had to slide that in. Had nothing to do with race. It doesn't matter what ethnicity your child is. We do not want prawn material inside of our public schools for the children. We don't want it.
We have parents who are Democrats who are members of our organization.
But you're still trying to make decisions for all the kids. Here are some of the parents that are filing, or some of your advocates. Bridget Ziegler, the Moms for Liberty co-founder, the wife of the recently ousted Florida Republican Party chairman, Christian Ziegler, who allegedly was involved in threesomes, same-sex threesomes. Mrs. Ziegler was removed from the school board at which she was a leader. You've had Lauren, one moment. School board. Okay, you have Lauren DePaula. She was making book ban requests in Alachua County, but then records show that she and her husband didn't live there. They'd sold their home in that county. Carrie Blair in Tennessee, who was arrested for property theft charges after allegedly stealing from Target, skip scanning in Target. Why should those three people get to make decisions about what other children?
So she's trying to assassinate their character. They did some shady shit. That's what it sounds like. But the message is the same. It doesn't matter the messenger. The message is we do not want adult content inside of our public school libraries. That's the message. The messenger, what they did in their personal life doesn't matter.
Should be able to read. Other parents' children should be able to read.
Do you know that I served as a school board member from 2016 to 2020?
Are you going to answer my question?
Yeah, I'm
because
going
we don't have an endless time.
Joy, I'm going to answer your question, but I need you to understand that when I was an elected representative, I would sit on that dais. And how dare I, sitting there as an elected representative, judge a parent when they would come to the podium to speak and advocate for their child? Because as we started this conversation, we'll end it. Every parent has a fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children. And I would not stand in judgment, Joy, about a parent's education level, their sexual orientation, their race, their religion. That is not what America is about.
I'm going to answer. I'm going to ask my question, Mrs. Justice.
Thank you.
If a parent believes that their child should be able to read Ruby Bridges,
we believe that children should be able to read.
Then how can Moms for Liberty insist that the school board take that book away and then say that a parent who wants the child to be able to read it must purchase it? That's essentially putting a tax on parents who want their children to read the book. Your kids get to have books for free that you agree with, but children who want to read, or parents who want their children to read books you don't like, have to purchase it. That doesn't sound fair.
Did you know that in the city that we're sitting in, only a quarter of children are reading on grade level?
Mom, that's a great question, Mom. If our children can't even read, they need to be learning how to read instead of reading about prawn and adult content. You get her, Mom. Joy, you lost. Joy, you lost. This is a beatdown.
Great point. That's a great point.
And so while we're having this conversation about books and libraries, two things should be happening. We should be talking about literacy rates and the fact that America's kids are not learning how to read. And we should be having vibrant conversations about what books should be in life.
Absolutely.
All right, crew, that's all I got for this segment. If you enjoyed this content and you want to see more like it, make sure you like this video. Make sure you comment on this video. Most importantly, make sure you share this video. It's the only way that I know that we can force YouTube's algorithm to push this content out to other like-minded individuals. So until I see you in the next video, I am gone.